three-time champion Tony Stewart will miss the early portion of the 2016 season due to injuries suffered at that sand rail accident in California.
I just remember talking about us going, with a group out to the dunes. Walk us through what happened out there.
I thought I followed in the same tracks the guy in front of me did, and I don't know if I just was a little too fast, but I mean, I really literally crashed at 5 miles an hour.
I know, we weren't even going that fast in that section.
Because you didn't know when you got to the top what was on the other side, so you kind of crept over it. But I just remember going over the top of it and was aimed down like this and didn't even realize I was actually in the air. But when I hit the sand, I mean, I knew it hurt someone, and I laid down beside the buggy, and that's where I laid for the next 2 hours.
Give us a little update on your back.
Every day I feel better than I did the day before. I don't know exactly when I'm going to get back in the car, but I'm going to all the West Coast races and being back at the track. I'd rather be there in person. Even if it's a little uncomfortable, I'll be much happier there than I will be laying in bed.
I got to go back to 2000. Watkins Glen in 2000.
I know where this is going. Yeah.
You and I come head to head, but we'd never really raced head to head.
We got together at the top of the bus stop, and then I hit the guardrail on top of that. And I was real rough around the edges still. I mean, like a saw blade rough around the edges, so.
It was like lap 2. Okay? That video afterwards, when we pull up under the trucks, and we just happened to pull up at the same time, and you look at me and I look at you, and all of a sudden it's all on.
Yeah, I remember it was heated. I mean,
but
somebody grabbed you and drug you in your trailer, and somebody grabbed me and dragged me away from your trailer, and that's how it ended. But I mean, at that point, I mean, that kind of created our rivalry.
Yeah.
And that's what fed me a lot. And I think about it now, it's like lap 2, that's pretty damn stupid, actually.
Well, let's talk a little bit about this this announcement being your final year.
I started, I think in 11 was kind of when I noticed I was changing a little bit after the championship and realizing that I want success for the whole organization, not just for me. And I mean, you've got to be 100% all in all the time on the driver's side, and I found that to be hard for me to do. I think that's when I realized that it was time to make a change.
I can't wait to see what you do when you get back out there, and we will all miss you being in a Cup car after 2016.
Oh, that was fantastic to sit down with him. I have so much respect for Tony Stewart. Yes, we had our battles along the way in our rivalry, but he's one of the best race car drivers we've ever seen in the sport, and possibly that's ever been in a race car.
Yeah, and he'll miss the whole rush of that. I'm sure he'll find his way. But Darrell, what about every race weekend without Jeff and Tony out there? How does that impact the field?
Well, we're at that crossroads again.
Yeah.
We're at that changing of the guard point in NASCAR. It happens every 10, 15 years. You saw Jeff, now Tony. We saw Jeff Burton, Mark Martin. Others have stepped aside. Too much talent. Too much young 18, 20-year-old talent waiting in the wings. That puts a lot of pressure on the old guys.
Yeah, one of those, Ty Dillon, who just turned 24 years old, his birthday Saturday, he'll be in the 14 car. And you mentioned, Jeff, that Tony was out here this weekend. Look how comfortable he is with everything. Talking to Ty Dillon, who'll be in that car. It was Brian Vickers who was in that car on Sunday at the Daytona 500. So, Michael, might NASCAR have a waiver, special medical waiver for Tony Stewart? I know the circumstances are different for Kyle Busch, but he got it, won a race, got into the chase. Is that something you think can happen for Tony in his final run?
I certainly believe Tony will get a waiver, and I also believe you're going to see an inspired Tony Stewart when he comes back to the track. I ran into him at lunch the other day. He said he'd been working out, lost weight, focused and ready. You put a focused and ready Tony Stewart on the racetrack with a chance to race for a championship in his last year, that's going to be fun to watch, brother.
Anything can happen.
Yeah, the thing he hates worse is rehab, but that's the thing that's going to make him strong when he comes back. I bet you he comes back stronger than he was when he left.
And you could relate to somebody having to make that decision. Jeff, I thought it was interesting when he told you how far back it entered his mind about stepping away from what he loves to do.
Yeah, it's a really difficult decision to make, but he's definitely clear on this decision, but he's highly motivated for this season to end it on a positive note.
We'll continue with the guys. Michael's going to head out for the grid walk, right? Stay tuned for that.
All right.
Have fun.
Try to behave yourself. Coming up, Denny Hamlin in grade school predicted he'd win the Daytona 500.